Happy blessed Sabbath day, everybody. All right. Today's message is entitled Serving or Swerving. Today's Sabbath day sermon is entitled Serving or Swerving. Okay. So let's go to the book of 1 Timothy chapter 1. We're going to read verses 5, 6, and 7. Gotten a lot better dealing with hay fever, so bear with me if I sound a little congested still. Okay, 1 Timothy chapter 1 verses 5, 6, and 7 reads as follows. Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart and of a good conscience and of faith unfeigned, from which some, having swerved, have turned aside unto vain jangling, desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor whereof they affirm. Okay, so I just read 1 Timothy chapter 1 verses 5, 6, and 7. All right, so the title is Serving or Swerving. Okay, so when it says in verse 6, from which some having swerved, right, have turned aside unto vain jangling. So let's break down that word swerved. That word swerved is referenced as G795, Greek 795, which is the Greek word astakeo, which means to deviate from the truth. Okay, so if you swerve or if you're swerving, you are deviating from the truth, right? Okay, vain jangling, reference says G3150, which is the Greek word mat-a ya ag-ia. Mat-a-ya-ag-ia, which means random talk. So you just bumping your gums, just randomly speaking. That mouthpiece is just going, but you're not saying nothing. All right. I come from a hip hop era, right? You know, in the 80s when hip hop was really strong, I come from that hip hop era, right? So in that hip hop era, when somebody would freestyle, right? Okay, it's good that you're able to freestyle, right? But while you freestyling, I should say, while you up there holding that mic and you're huffing and puffing, but you ain't saying nothing, all right? Even if you're freestyling, just coming, on the spot, right from the dome, right? It's still important and significant what you're saying. So if you're just bumping your gums and just speaking, what significance is it? Because the words that's coming out of your mouth, they have no meaning, they have no significance. Okay? So serving, on the other hand, which is what we should be doing. Serving is a verb. Okay? Doing the Father's will, being consistent about your mission, right? About your purpose, and doing it all with the right attitude. All right? Serving, you're not going to be perfect. I'll let you know that right now. Nobody who's serving is going to be perfect. Only the Messiah, the Mashiach, right, is the only one who did it perfectly, right? He's our perfect example before us, right? He did the Father's will perfectly. We're not him, so we're not going to do the will perfectly. But the thing is, we were designed to do his will. He knows we're not going to have all our ducks in a row, right? But we're still serving, all right? If you're doing anything repetitiously, right, every repetition is not going to be perfect. But the thing is, you are repetitively doing what you're supposed to do. So as you repetitively do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get better and better. However, there's going to be days where you're not going to have it perfect. You're not going to have it down right. All right. Okay. So while you're serving, you're doing the Father's perfect will. Although you're not serving perfectly, you are doing the Father's perfect will. Because he knows the mistakes you're going to make before you make them. But you still are on the right path. You are still going in the right direction. All right. The lines you stay within while you are serving, they're narrow. All right. They're narrow. However, the Spirit of holiness, the Ruach HaKodesh, will keep you in the lines if you let him. Right. Will you drift? From time to time, absolutely you're going to drift. Absolutely sometimes you're going to get outside of those lines a little bit. But trust in him, he'll get you right back in line. All right. Because he knows you're going the right way. You're going the right direction. You have the right attitude. You have the right frame of mind. All right. So once you're back in line, right, you are doing the Father's will. Okay. Now, swerving is something entirely different, right? Because when you're swerving, it's that you are purposely straying more and more from the truth. Okay? More and more from the truth, you are purposely swaying. Okay? More and more from the truth. In other words, you talk the talk, right? Remember that vein jangling? But you're not walking the walk. You're just doing a lot of talking, right? You're probably in pride. You're doing a lot of boasting. You're doing a lot of bragging, right? You're not speaking from the word. You're not speaking to glorify the Father. You're not speaking to deliver somebody. You speaking, right, to glorify yourself. You're speaking to brag and boast and build your own self up. Amen. All right. So swerving, you are eventually headed for an accident. Okay. For all of us who are old enough to drive, right? When you are swerving like that, you eventually either going to run into somebody or somebody's going to run into you. And here's the scary part about it. When you willfully sin, when you are willfully not doing the will of the Father, right? You don't have that insurance coverage in place like you think you do. Okay? He's made provision for every bad decision. He has made a way to cover our mistakes. It never says, though, for willful sin. Amen? So if you premeditate what you're doing and you know what you're doing, when you get caught up in that accident, when you get into that collision, which it's coming, it's happening, it's going to happen, right? You continue swerving, it's going to happen, all right? It's going to happen. You continue drinking and driving. And what I'm not talking about literally or physically being behind the wheel, drinking and driving. What I'm talking about is you're going through this pathway in life, right? And if you're going through this pathway of life, but you're not sober, therefore you're not vigilant, right? You're drunk, right? Drunk on what you want to be drunk on. You're purposely drunk. You're purposely swerving. You're going to get into an accident. And that insurance claim is not going to cover you because you knew what you were doing when you took that drink and went out driving. You knew what you were doing when you knew to do the Father's will, but you chose to do your own will. You chose to go your own way. You chose to do you. You chose not to do the Father's will. So are you serving or are you swerving? All right? Are you serving or are you swerving? Are you doing right or are you willfully doing wrong? That's the question I have today. And yes, as I close this out, verse 7, desiring to be teachers of the law. This is directed exactly towards you teachers. Those of you who desire to be teachers of the law, but you're not even understanding what you say, nor are you affirming what you say. All right? You're not affirming what you say because what you say is a bunch of nonsense. What you say is for your own gain. What you say is to build up your own reputation. What you say is to build up your own confidence. What you say is to stroke your own ego. Are you serving or are you swerving? You make the choice today. Happy blessed Sabbath, everyone. Enjoy. This is Martin. Shalom.